Hi everyone, welcome to this 8th session already. It's the last session of this series on pentatonic scales. And we covered a lot of ground, a lot of concepts, a lot of positions, a lot of different things in this series. And today we're going to kind of recap everything. We're going to have an open discussion, so if you have any questions, you can feel free to type them right now. I'll take them as we go through the hour-long session. And we're going to take a look at different licks, different ideas, and just kind of recap everything together and talk about how to implement the positions that we've used in a melodic context and really creating your story, the musical story that's inside of you by using these different scales. Before we start, I'm going to shut off my phone. Okay. If you're just joining us, feel free to stay for the hour. That's great. You can always re-watch the previous sessions. There's 7 of them. And we started very simple with one position, slice of the fretboard. And we expanded on that. Eventually we covered the full fretboard, the 5 different slices of the fretboard, the 5 positions of that pentatonic scale. And we talked about licks. We talked about chromatic passages, and we also talked about how to target certain notes in your improvisation to bring out the color of these notes as you're telling your musical story. Let's cover the 5 positions before we get started, because we're going to go through different exercises, and those are going to be used in the 4 different licks that are included in your downloadable content. You can download the tabs in Guitar Pro format and PDF also. And there's 3 backing tracks that we're gonna use later on. But first, let's talk about those positions. There are 5 of them because the pentatonic scale has 5 notes. If we were dealing with a 7-note scale, we'd have 7 positions. We have as many positions as there are notes in the scale we're studying. And each of these positions starts with one of the notes of the scale. And it's really important that you remember that it's not the position you're playing in that determines the key that you're playing in. A position is just a way to organize your fretboard, and essentially you're playing the same exact notes over and over, just in different areas of the fretboard. That's all. And that's particularly true on the guitar, where you can play the same exact note on different strings, different frets. For example, if I play that E note on the low E string 12th fret, we have the same exact pitch on the 5th string 7th fret. And so that's why we have a lot of different positions, but that's also why a position doesn't really influence the key you're playing in. So really important to remember that, especially later on if you want to move on to modes, more complex scales. There's a lot of confusion that could be avoided if you just remember that the position that you're playing in doesn't influence the sound and the key that you're playing over. Let me demonstrate real quick, and then we're going to go through these 5 positions. We're going to switch up things a little bit. We've been working in the key of A a lot in this session, in the previous sessions. We're going to work in the key of G, which is the low E string 3rd fret is a G. And when I say we're playing the key of G, it means that G, or whatever note the key is in, is the root, the reference point from which we're measuring all the other notes in your scale. All the notes that I'm playing are attracted to that G. And that even, you can hear that even more if I just loop that G in the back, and I play my scale, all the notes are going to be attracted to that G. See, regardless of the note, it's played in the relation to that G, which is the key. So I'm going to demonstrate really quick why and how the positions don't really influence the color or the key. If I'm in G minor pentatonic, that means I have 5 notes that are stacked on top or built on top of that G. And these 5 notes are root, which is that G that we're hearing in the back. Then we have a minor third, a perfect fourth, perfect fifth, and minor seventh. And then we repeat these 5 notes over and over. Anytime we have a G, we play that G. Anytime we have the minor third, we'll play that minor third. And instead of having a huge fretboard that is difficult to memorize, we mentally split that fretboard into equal sections. Each of these sections starts with 1 of the 5 notes of the minor pentatonic scale. So here's my G. Everything I play is attracted to that. If I phrase with my first position, now if I phrase in the second position, it's going to have the same feel. First position. Second. Same feel. It doesn't sound suddenly like this kind of feel. That's a different scale. It sounds the same because I'm just repeating those notes over and over. So we're going to practice those 5 positions. That's going to be useful when we study those licks later on in the session. There are 4 licks that are going to kind of combine all these positions together. So it's important to know these positions, which are slices of the fretboard. The first position starts with the first note of the minor pentatonic scale. In the key of G, that'll be low E string, 3rd fret. And there are 2 notes per string. So you should know by now if you studied the previous 7 sessions. If not, I'll remind you really quick. So first position is frets 3, 6, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 6, and 3, 6. Okay, position number 2 starts with the second note of the minor pentatonic. Therefore, in G, it starts with the 6th fret, and that'll be frets 6, 8, 5, 8, 5, 8, 5, 7, 6, 8, 6, 8. The third position is frets 8, 10, 8, 10, 8, 10, 7, 10, 8, 11, 8, 10. The fourth position, am I on the fourth? Yeah, fourth position is frets 10, 12, 10, 13, 10, 13, 10, 12, 10, 12, 11, 13, and 10, 13. And the fifth one is 13, 15, 13, 15, 12, 15, 12, 15, 13, 15, 13, 15. That is super dry, that section, but you should know these positions by now if you followed the previous sessions. And you can always watch them again. They've been recorded for you, so you can watch them as many times as you want. But we're going to use those to start creating music. And we're going to start simple with an exercise that combines all 5. And I'm going to ascend the first position. From that last note, I'm going to slide into the next position. I descend that position. And then slide into the next. And so forth. We're going to do that through the 5 different positions over a backing track that we're going to create. Without the backing track, it's going to sound very exercise-like, very boring. But I've got a looper here, and I'm going to record a loop that'll give us the musical context, which attracts all the notes that are playing. Without that attraction, without that backing track, we don't have the color. Because a note by itself doesn't mean anything unless it's put in relation to something else. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to start by creating this backing track. We can add a different layer. Yeah, of course I'm not in sync. We'll just use one layer. Alright, so ascend the first position. That's our beat. We're going to play 2 notes per beat. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Slide to the next one. Okay, one more time. Starting on the first position. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the important thing is just to know these positions in and out in any direction, ascending, descending, and being able to play those positions, not necessarily in order, but if I ask you to play position number 4, then you play position number 4 right away. So that's really important, because when we're phrasing, developing a musical story, we're going to try to use all these different areas of the fretboard in a way that is musical. And in order to do that, we're going to start by building a simple musical sentence in one position, and that's going to train our ears to. And then we're going to reproduce that idea on a different position. So let me give you an example first, and then you'll see exactly what we're going to do. Let's do something in A this time. So A is our visual reference point. I'm going to build an idea on that first position. That works. And now if I'm starting to develop something using that, and then I switch to a different position without continuing that idea, it's going to sound kind of broken up. So 2 different ideas, very different. They do work harmonically, they're in the same key, but there's no real continuation. It's kind of like me talking to you about the weather, and then I switch completely to politics or something very different. And we're going to try to avoid that. And for that, I'm going to look at my first idea, which in this case was something like this. So from that idea, we're going to extract what's going on. There's a few slides, starting with a slide. playing with the notes a little bit. And it's got kind of a lazy feel as far as the rhythm. It's a little slower than that. So I'm going to take these adjectives that I extracted from that idea and apply them to a lick that has the same characteristics in a different zone of the fretboard. So for example, I'll use the fourth position. So the first position here, and the fourth here, and I'll use the same characteristics and it's going to be a lot smoother. Let's try that. Those two ideas work together. Because I'm using the same characteristics of these ideas. And that's what we're going to try to develop today by using all these different positions. You don't have to stay in the same position all the time, but you do have to have a continuity in the flow of the idea. Rhythmically, emotionally, and with all these different characteristics. Are there a lot of notes that I'm playing? Or just a few? Or repeating some notes? Just try to pay attention to those characteristics. I'm going to play an idea. Hopefully you have your guitar in your hand. And try to do something kind of simple. And then I would like you to think of that idea. Listen to it. All pentatonic scale. We're in A. And try to come up with at least two adjectives that fit the characteristics of that idea. So here's what I'll play. Okay? I'll play the same type of idea, using the same characteristics I'm looking for. And usually when you're searching for these, there's at least two clues or two questions you need to ask yourselves. Two sides to analyze that idea. The first, or one of them, not necessarily the first, but one of them is the rhythm side, and the other one is the harmonic side. What's going on rhythmically, if anything? Is it slow pace? Is it fast pace? What's the subdivision used? All these types of questions are gonna help you approach that idea from that rhythm angle. And then the other one is, am I using a lot of notes? That's the harmonic side. A lot of notes, a few notes. Am I using any forms of speech in my lick, such as stutter, where you're stuttering a little bit? Am I using some intervals that are kind of wide? All these questions are going to help you determine have a better idea of the form of that idea, of that lick, of that sentence. You're going to be able to classify that in your mind and apply that to a different lick. So what are some of the things that you might extract from that? If we analyze the rhythm approach, a lot of continuous notes, just kind of flows. It's not like I'm playing a few notes. Silence. It's not like that. It was more like very continuous, kind of like I think of a train just going 16th notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's kind of the feel of that idea. And then the harmonic approach would be, is there some kind of thing with the notes that I'm doing that are characteristic of that idea, and we talked about that in the previous sessions. Chromatic approaches, chromatic passages. If you weren't there last session, I took each of the pentatonic scales and represented them as skeletons, the bones. And in between these bones, we could add the muscles, the flesh, which are important because they tie both bones together, but the bones are the foundation, and we landed on these bones the pentatonic notes. And that's what I did in that particular idea here. A lot of muscles in between these bones. So hopefully those are the two main elements that you extracted from that idea. The continuous rhythm guideline, taka, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, which I was playing, and the chromatic approach. And then now, if we want to continue developing that idea or similar ideas in a different zone of the fretboard, we can extract from that first sentence to a different area for the fretboard. Both ideas are coherent there, regardless of the position. And that's what development is. You just start in one, with one characteristic, and you develop that using those characteristics as your guidelines. If at some point I want to shift the conversation somewhere else, or take the story, the listeners somewhere else, I might try to transition to a different type of playing, a different type of characteristic, and then develop that one. So if we started with that chromatic type of thing with the guideline, a lot of ideas can be extracted with that. And maybe at some point the shift in the story is going to be with something more airy, where notes are longer, a lot more silences. Something like that. And that's something that I can develop. Very different than the chromatic type of thing, but both are compatible if I try to bring this kind of playing to the more airy and melodic type of playing. Let's give that a try. I'm going to start with the bebop-y thing, and I'll try to get to that slower paced type of thing. Let's see if I can make something interesting. Well, first thing I'm going to add a few chords. Hopefully I'm not going to mess up the loop like I just did. Let's give that a try. So I'll start with the 16th note. So that's the characteristic. Playing with different positions. And I'm trying in my mind to go to that more spacey type of thing. now I'm there. I'm going to try to transition again to the more rhythm-oriented idea. And I'm there now. Let's just do the other one. So that's develop it. That's what I mean by developing things. Think about language. Think about anything that you would say, or thinking about how speech works. You think about the idea first, then you say the idea. That idea that you're saying, you're hearing into, and that inspires you another idea, and another idea, and another idea. And that's exactly what I'm doing now, except that it doesn't always work. But that's kind of what you should be thinking of when you're trying to learn how to develop solos. Okay, so I've got 4 ideas for you that kind of take a concept, an idea that we're going to examine and apply to other licks. We're going to try to make new licks. So the first thing is to learn that idea. And I'd like you to do that with anything you're learning. Any lick that you're learning, try to ask the question, what makes that lick special? What is the characteristic of that lick? And approach it from both angles. Rhythm and harmonic. So let's take a look at the first lick, lick number 1. We are in the key of A, all these licks in the key of A. And we're going to start with the top, the rhythm. So the rhythm angle, if we look at that, just look at the picture, you see that there's a lot of groupings with 16th notes, which is that note with two little attachments to it. And they're like 2 groupings of 4 notes right in the middle. That's the rhythm feel. That's kind of giving you a clue as to what to expect. So if I just play the rhythm, this is going to be our tempo. 1, 2. I'm going to think of this as 4 notes each. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Da 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 da. That's going to be the guide as I'm playing. And the first grouping of notes is an 8th notes and 2 16th. So if I loop that over this tempo, this beat, da 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 da. The 1 2, 1 2 3 4. The 1 2 are tied together. 1 na na 1 na na 1 3 4 1 3 4, something like that. So that's what we have. And if I read the rest, da 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 da, gives you an idea of the rhythm foundation. You see that foundation is actually the same on the lick number 2. You kind of see those 16th notes. So that's the one angle of analyzing what's going on in that idea. So we might take that and reapply it after learning this when we make up a new lick. And now let's take it from the harmonic angle. I'm going to look at the notes. The first note is a bend on the 2nd string, 8th fret. And it says full, which means that it's a full step bend instead of a half step. And a full step is 2 frets above. So if you're starting on fret number 8, that bend, the pitch that you're aiming for, should sound like 2 frets higher, which is the 10th fret. Like that. So make sure that your thumb is wrapped around the neck. It's going to give you more strength. And I'm bending with the ring finger, but just behind the ring finger, my middle finger and my index are helping me, giving more strength to that bend. So that's what you have. Then we're going to play the 8th fret without the bend. 5th fret, 3rd string, fret 7, 5. 4th string, fret 7, I'm basically descending that first position of the minor pentatonic scale. That's what we have. And then right after that 4th string 7th fret, you see that we have a 12th fret on the 5th string. That's a shift, a different position. We're shifting to a position that has that 12th fret on the 5th string. And let's see what's going on after. That's going to give us a clue as far as which fingers to use. So we're sliding to that 12th fret, 5th string. And then we're ascending something. We're ascending to the 4th string 10th fret and 4th string 12th fret. So that slide there to the 12th fret is going to be played with the middle finger because we landed on the ring finger, 4th string 7th fret. Now the middle is going to take over and slide to the 12th. And then we're starting to ascend that position, which is position number 3. That's why it's important to know your positions. So we're ascending that. And then from the 12th fret to the 14th, we have a slide. We're on string number 4, slide from 12 to 14. We're shifting to the 4th position now. And we're ascending that, and we're going to land on the 2nd string, 13th fret. Altogether, this is what we have. Sorry. Play that again. And if I add my loop to that, which is, I'll just redo it. I'm going to half speed that so that you can follow along. So we're going through 3 different positions. The first one, then you're sliding to the 3rd position and the 4th. When you're playing, you don't have to think about, I'm in position 1, I'm in position 3, 4. You don't really have to think about it. Just let your fingers be confident in all the exercises that you've done to memorize this position, and let your ear kind of guide you to aim those notes. So you'll have time throughout the week to memorize that. There's actually a practice session that I did where you can just watch it with your guitar, and I'll walk you through that. It's available in the supplemental content. But I want to show you what to do when you're learning a lick. It's not about just memorizing licks and playing them as they are in your solos. Those licks are meant to be starting points, starting ideas. And if we analyze what we just played there, the rhythm foundation, 16th notes, we have that feel, and the harmonic content can be multiple things, but in this case, we're starting on a lower area of the fretboard, ending higher. That's something you can take out of that idea. We are also doing some slides in there when we're shifting position. So we can take those ideas, those things, those elements, and apply them to a new idea, which is what we're going to do. Let's let me create something that has those characteristics. So 16th notes, for example, that kind of phrasing. And then I'm going to do some slides and end higher. Same kind of characteristics here as they both fit, right? Because I'm using the same characteristics. They wouldn't fit if I played this first, followed by those two characteristics don't match. So that's what I want you to take from this. Memorize the lick, extract from it the characteristics, and make your own. And if you're listening to music and you feel that this part, I just can't get enough, I can't wait for that solo to get to that section because it just does something magical to me, ask yourself, what is it that you like so much about it? Is it an interval, distance between the two notes that you love so much? Or is it the outcome of a really, really fast lick and it stopped on that one note that is so cool? Or whatever it is, and then extract from that idea, that song that you loved, some new ideas, and that's how you make ideas your own. Okay, let's move on to lick number 2. We're going to see what we have here. So lick number 2 on the second line. First thing we notice is that we have some groupings going on, and between each of the groupings, we have some silences. An 8th note silence. And the groupings are groupings of 4s, so we have 4 notes to start with. 1, 2, 3, 4, silence. 1, 2, 3, 4, silence. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'd be something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Throughout the full idea. So that's the rhythm thing we're going to extract from it. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. And the harmonic thing that's going on is going to be told by the tabs. So let's take a look at that. The first 4 notes are on the first and second string, frets 8, 5, 8, 5. We're basically descending the first position of A minor pentatonic. So the next 4 notes are 10, 8, 10, 8, and that's descending the second position of A minor pentatonic. The third grouping of 4 notes is 12, 10, 13, 10, and that's descending the 4 notes of the third position. So you kind of see the pattern, just ascending these like that. That is the first bar. And notice that there's no silence between the very last note of the first bar and the first note of the second bar. So rhythmically, it's going to be something like taka 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 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. With the notes, just descending those pentatonic scales. In context, it sounds like this. And if I want to develop ideas that use those two characteristics, the rhythm and the harmonic, I could maybe descend that or maybe I can take strings 3 and 4. Or maybe I can skip a string. Maybe I'll play the sixth string and the fourth. Or maybe strings 1 and 3. It's a great way to memorize your positions too. And that's how you can expand on that lick. Take an idea, expand on it. Lick number 3. Lick number 3 is an extended position, but it uses an interesting idea where you're taking two adjacent positions. In this case, positions 1 and 2. Position 1 and 2. You map them out on a fretboard, so you put a dot anytime you have a note from position 1 and position 2, and you combine both together. That gives you a 3-note per string position. So instead of on the low E string of having frets 5, 8, which are position 1, and then for position 2 having 8, 10, we'll have 5, 8, and 10. And so forth. So in essence, you could see this as playing position 1, 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8, and adding a note on the right side, and that note is taken from position number 2. So the notes we're adding are frets number 10, 10, 10, 9, 10, 10. So we'll have 5, 8, 10, 5, 7, 10, 5, 7, 10, 5, 7, 9, 5, 8, 10, 5, 8, 10. And that's the extension. You can kind of see that I'm extended to reach those. The index is playing the left side notes. When you're looking at your guitar, the left side notes are on the 5th fret each time. So that's index. The pinky is playing the far right note. So that's frets 10, 10, 10, 9, 10, 10. And the ring and the middle are playing the other notes. The ring is playing fret number 8, and the middle is playing fret number 7. Like that. And that's what we're using here on lick number 3. It's just ascending that full 3-note per string pentatonic scale. The rhythm section is 16th notes, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you do that properly, you're going to end on the 8th fret of the 1st string, which is the last note of the 1st position. Like that. In context, this is our track. That's 16 notes, 4 notes per beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have. Okay. You can descend that. And what's interesting with that is that you have a repetition of notes each time. If I play it really slow, you'll hear that the 3rd note and the 4th are the same. And it creates an interesting twist with the rhythm where that note is repeated always, over and over. You don't have to alternate pick it. You can also legato. We're just striking the 1st string of each series of 3 notes, and the rest is hammer-ons or pull-offs. But that's the idea. So we can extract from that multiple ideas And what we can take from this is the 16th note, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, the continuity of notes, and that pattern where that repetition of note happens. So you could develop new ideas by combining any two consecutive minor pentatonic positions. You could do positions 3 and 4. And develop like that. So a lot can be done with that. And last one, don't be scared. There's a lot of notes, but there is a logic behind that. This is going to use all 5 positions. So the 5 positions that we talked about earlier. And once we learn what's going on that first position, the rest just follows. So we have, let's take a look at that. We have a rhythm of 16th triplets, which is 6 notes per beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Da, 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 da. A little faster than 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, then 16th notes. Let's take a look at the first series of 6 notes. We have low E string, frets 5, 3, 5. Going to the 4th string, fret 3. 6th string, 5. 4th string, 3. 5, 3, 5. And we're going to end on the 4th string, 2nd fret. You kind of see the progression there, the sequence. There's a logic behind it. No note comes as a surprise. Once you have that sequence, which is basically starting on a note of the pentatonic, playing the note just before, and then back to the note you started with, and then go to the next note, previous note, and back to that note again. That's the sequence. You repeat that on the next position. You don't even need to read the tabs. As long as you understood the logic, you just apply it to all the other positions. In context, it's going to sound something like this. I'm going to create another little loop just for fun. We're still in A. That's 6 notes. And here's the sequence. Something like that. One more time. And so forth. And you can build new ideas using that. So the 16th triplet in the sequence type of thing, maybe descending. And so forth. So a lot of things can be done by learning one lick and recycling it. It's kind of like learning your vocabulary, learning to say I'm hungry and then saying it in a lot of different ways. Fast, slow, add to it different emotions, anger, sleepy, excited, all those things. That's learning an idea and then adding to it your own emotions and depending on the context of the story. Those are the 4 licks that I have, but there's a lot more in the course if you go back to explore, and out of each one of these licks, there's multiple licks that can be extracted. That's it. I don't know if we have questions, and if not, I'll.
Got one so far. Did you have
Okay.
tracks you were gonna?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, maybe I should cover those real quick. 3 tracks in this lesson, and they're in 3 different keys because I wanted you to take these ideas. In this case, they're in A, but you can reapply them in different keys. There's a B track, an A track, and a G track. They're all minor tracks. They have different flavors. There's different types of minor scales. And this, for the tracks here, we have 2 Aeolian tracks, which is a minor scale, and 1 Dorian. But let me play through them a little bit. I'll start with the one in A. By the way, the first thing you should do when you're playing over a track is not play at all. Just listen to the groove, what's going on, to get a better idea. So right now I'm thinking, this is my tempo. I'm also thinking subdivisions. All those subdivisions in my mind. And I'm going to start with something comfortable. Probably 8th notes. Simple idea. Add some silences and answer what you just said. And then I'm going to extract that, the elements of that idea, in a different zone. Maybe gradually add more notes. And so forth. The next track we have is, we have a track in B. B minor pentatonic. The next one is in G minor. So 3 different keys for you to go over that you can download. And of course, there's a lot more tracks on JamPlay.com too, if you're a member. So yeah, another question?
Yeah, we've got a couple. So everybody make sure you get your questions up. Here's the first one we had a little while ago from Law Tim. I know that position's okay, but I find it difficult to join the positions when improvising. Any suggestions on going from one position to another?
Yeah, take it slow and just focus on one transition point at a time. For example, a typical one, an easy one to transition from into is for an A, position 1 to position 2 would be that third string, for example, because each consecutive positions had one note in common. The right side of position 1 corresponds to the left side of position 2. So ascend the first position, and once you reach that note that you're going to call the transitional note, you slide into position 2, and then you're in position 2. Just focus on one transitional note at a time. between two positions, and eventually you'll discover that you don't have to learn all the notes, all the transitional points. It'll just come naturally. But start with that one is a good one. Phrase in one position. And when you want to transition, you use that one and only transitional note. And then you do the same with two other positions and so forth. But it'll come.
Okay, here's one from Guitar Kids Are Cool. Is Ibanez a good guitar? That is what I have.
Some are. Yeah, it depends on the model, because Ibanez has a lot of types of guitars. Some lower end guitars, and there's some really high end $5,000 guitars with Ibanez. I like this one because it's versatile, plays a lot of different genres. But I kind of go back and forth. I've got a few guitars home, and it depends. But yeah, generally speaking, I think I don't know where you're at, but if you're just a beginner and you have an Ibanez guitar or any other guitar, I would really recommend that you go to either Luthier or even Guitar Center to have a proper setup, because that's going to make really poor guitar be a lot more comfortable, and they'll be able to pinpoint things. But generally speaking, it's a respected brand. Yep.
And it should be the same response, but he said he clarified that he has an acoustic guitar.
Okay. Yeah. They're known for electrics and acoustics. So I think, yeah, it's a good brand.
Okay. Let's see, I had one other comment I wanted to post. I don't have any other questions yet, so
Okay.
if you guys have them, get them up real quick here. But Al Elm, sorry I didn't get your name and the username there, but he just made a comment. This was an incredible course. I stuck with it all 8 weeks. Not only did I improve with the scales and techniques, but his explanations of music, phrasing, interpreting, and speaking through music was awesome.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
A lot of positive, a lot of smiley faces.
Awesome. Thanks.
Right now, so.
Thanks so much. Should probably say that I'm not going to be here for a little while. I'll be back in October. Don't have a specific date, but preparing a new course for October. I'm taking a paternal leave. Expecting a new little one soon, so I'm going to take some time off. But in October I'll be back, and the topic. So I'm still working on this, but it's going to be different. A different type of course. It's about stamina, building stamina. So most of the sessions, it's going to be a 10-week program. Most of them are going to be just exercises, not necessarily melodic, but the main thing is to be able to play longer and not feel pain. So that's going to be the topic. A lot of exercises and spend a lot of time playing. So during those 10 weeks, each week we'll have an hour basically just playing for the full time. Hopefully, we'll see. But that's coming in October. It was really fun. I'm really glad that we did this, and I hope that you found it useful. There's a practice guide for you that I recorded, and those practice guides, there's one for each of the sessions, are basically guided practices where you grab your guitar. If you have 30 minutes of practice and you want to practice some of the things of this lesson, you grab your guitar and you press play on the video, and then I'll just walk you through the exercises, and we'll just play together for 30 minutes. And if you can run those twice a week, that's great. And feel free to rewatch all the previous sessions. So this was an 8-hour course, and yeah, if you have questions later on, leave them on the forum, and I'll pop in and I'll try to answer them. Or you can get in touch on I think that, yeah, just leave him a message on JamPlay, and I'll be happy to answer. Thank you, everyone. Have a great week, and I'll see you in October. So practice well.